mackerel, and recently-ish, it was my friend's birthday. I wanted to do something special, so I decided to make her a birthday card. She really likes lemons and that sort of aesthetic, so that's why I decided to do lemons on this card. This video will be a short tutorial on how you too can make this homemade watercolor card for someone in your life. So, the first thing you're going to want to do is gather your materials. The paper I used for this activity is Artist Loft brand watercolor paper, which is perfect for something with very few layers like this. It's also a bit on the cheaper end, which makes me feel a bit better about having to throw away the scraps. The palette I'm using is a bit on the more expensive side, so I'd again recommend a Artist Loft watercolor palette. It's like $6 at Michael's and would work fine for something like this, and also has a lot of colors. While brushes are very important for watercolor, pretty much anything labeled as watercolor brushes should work as long as they come from like a craft store. You'll also need a glue stick, scissors, and a blank sheet of paper. The first thing you'll want to do is sketch out some rough lemon shapes on your watercolor paper and lightly go over the pencil marks with an eraser to keep the lead from being picked up with the water from your brush. The yellow I used is mixed using yellow and a little bit of red, but a plain yellow is fine, especially if you don't feel confident about mixing colors. After filling in the shapes, wait a moment for the colors to dry. After drying, go in with a darker yellow and add a shadow along one of the edges. This is again a custom mixed color that I added a bit more red to, but a more saturated yellow works well too. Future mackerel here forgot that I went over this watercolor with a metallic watercolor just to give it some shine. This is not necessary. I just happen to have a shiny watercolor palette that I went ahead and just used because sparkles are fun. I forgot to say that in the original recording, so yeah. After letting the watercolor dry for a moment, grab a yellow colored pencil. Use the colored pencil for the outline of the lemons. Then go in and add little divots in the lemons to show the skin of the lemon as imperfect. This is just a very simple way of adding a bit of detail without complicating the design. Once done, set the lemons to the side and pull out a second sheet of watercolor paper for the flowers and the leaves. For the leaves, I simply drew some ovals with sharper ends. Simple shapes really work best since you do have to cut out the shapes, and it also makes filling it in with color easier. The color I used is, again, a custom mixed color, but any green will do. I just wanted a color that leaned a bit more yellow than blue. For the flowers, I drew simple 5-petaled flowers. I tried not to make them too detailed because that leads to a hard time cutting them out, like I said, which I didn't really avoid, but it could have been worse. The color I used was a watered down version of the color of the lemons. I mostly just needed a lighter color to show that the flowers do have some color, even though lemon blossoms are white. After letting it dry for a moment, I again went in with some metallic watercolor, because who doesn't like things that are shiny? The yellow metallic watercolor did make the flowers a bit darker than I wanted, but that's the price you pay for wanting a little bit of shimmer. After letting the watercolor dry, go in with a colored pencil and outline the leaves and the flowers. On the leaves, I add a line to the center to add a bit to the design and show that's a leaf and not just some green blob. Also, with the flowers, I made the outline yellow since it matches the color that I painted the petals, even though it's a much lighter version. One last thing with the colored pencils, I went back to the lemons and added a highlight with a white colored pencil. It doesn't show up that much on camera, but it looks nice in person and just adds just a little bit extra to the lemons. Next, take out the scissors and cut out the shapes. I personally left a bit of white on the outside of the shapes to make it a bit easier because cutting on the line is kind of difficult while recording, especially with the flowers. The white outline also just looks good when applied to all the shapes. It helps to fill up a bit more space too, so you don't have to create quite as many shapes. As I mentioned, I struggled with recording and cutting at the same time, so here's a little bit of the recording that I consider presentable. So, after cutting out all of the lemons, flowers, and leaves, grab your sheet of paper and your glue stick. The paper should be folded in half in a card shape. The paper I used was just a piece of paper out of my sketchbook. This is the part where you start gluing all the pieces and start to assemble the card. I started by placing the lemons down first since they are the main focus. Everything else ends up getting glued around the lemons. For example, after gluing down the lemons, I lifted up the end of the lemons and add the leaves. Make sure not to put all the pieces on the front to, 1, make sure there's room to write, and 2, to make sure you can add more to the interior of the card, because I did end up adding some to the inside. I ended up placing down most of the watercolor cutouts pretty randomly. It's pretty difficult to mess up unless you don't leave enough room to write. After giving the glue time to dry, open up the card and begin it on the inside. The inside is more the same. The only major difference is changing the amount of space available to write on, depending on what you want to write on this part of the card. I personally added less to the inside than on the outside since I had more to write. This card can be used for many occasions, not just birthdays. So if, for example, you want to use this card for, say, a thank you card, you might not need that much space if you just want to write down thank you, and then on the other side of the card, write the rest of your message. After having enough time to dry, you can begin writing your message. I wrote out the iconic line that everyone thinks of when someone says lemons. While cliche, it's something that has a lot of weight because of who this card is meant for personally. I also happened to add a bit of a twist to the line because I thought it'd be fun, but also as a reminder that you don't have to deal with every problem that life throws at you. After finishing writing, you're done. While there is more space for me to write, I'm not going to do that on camera since there is personal information such as names that will get written down. If you like this tutorial, consider leaving a like. If you're interested in watching more of my videos in the future, consider subscribing. I'm currently working on a video talking about why I love Mary Poppins so much, with a video of me doing a watercolor painting of Mary Poppins with it. It'll be a great video for background noise, so if you're interested, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. If you have an idea you want me to do, consider leaving a comment. I love requests. Again, I'm Mackerel, and I hope you enjoyed the video.